So how do you safely drive one of these things over soft grass? Hi folks, I'm Roger from Offgrid Van Life, and in this episode we're doing something very unusual. I'm taking you through how we get this thing around on soft grass. Now if you follow like the motorhome forums and that, invariably a thread arises every few months where somebody talks about and asks the question, what do you do to drive off the hard standings? So if you get to a place that doesn't have hard standings and has soft grass and that sort of thing, what do you do? And generally people are petrified of driving off the hard stuff. So, and we've seen that once or twice. We've been on soft stuff, and before you know it, you're spinning like crazy, and these wheels just churn up the mud, and before you know it, there's just a mud bath where the wheels run. We've driven onto pristine fields, and then when we've finally got off them, they are definitely no longer pristine. So people are very mindful of the fact that they can really bog down quite quickly in the winter, and so they're really scared to use their motorhomes anywhere other than on really hard stuff, good stuff. So what I want to do now is to show you, I'll show you where we're going to take this thing. Right, I want to put the motorhome into the barn here where we keep it in the winter, keep it out of the elements. And this little stretch here is usually quite treacherous to come around, and we usually slip around there. It's got a bit wet now. It's going to get a lot wetter in the season and a lot more like clay and very, very slippery over here. I might be fine over here, but possibly coming around and coming that just beyond the fence there, probably slip quite a bit. So what I'll do is I'll bring it around, see how it goes, and then put the snow chains on and show you just how easily it pulls without any slipping whatsoever on the snow chains. Come, lay up. So these are the secret to driving on grass, or one of the ways you can do it. These are our old fairly heavy duty chains. These probably cost about 120 pounds when we bought them years and years ago. But they were really for a 205 tire, and we've changed to 215. So they do fit on this now, but they are quite a snug fit. And they're quite heavy. I think they're 20mm links. Very, very solid metal, very heavy things. So these would still be my go-to in a bad situation. They're very tough, very good chains. We've been through one or two cheaper ones, and you need to be careful when you're buying chains. You don't buy too cheap. We bought these ones just to put them through their paces. These cost 70 pounds on Amazon, and they are so light. You can feel the metal is lightweight. So I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous that they are so lightweight, but we're going to try them on anyway, just see how they go. What's the worst that can happen? Rip out some brake pipes and things like that. But let's give these a bash and see how they work. What I do know is that snow chains are so kind to grass. Bare tires can be absolutely hell on grass, but snow chains love, and grass just love each other. Okay, let's get on with it. Gate has been open, but normally I have to stop and open this gate. So normally you swing around and make sure I don't hit the pole. Been getting a bit slippery there. Let's try and... No, it's not going. Right, so let's stop here. Get the chains on. As you can see, it's very slippery on the grass, and it's not done that much damage to the grass just yet. but obviously if you keep on going, this eventually changes it up. And when it gets to sort of January, February, when this soil is really saturated with water, and it's just so slippery, you can't walk around in Crocs later on. About January, February, we stop wearing Crocs and we use proper wheelies and that here. But you can see we're slipping on the grass quite badly, but I'll just show you, get the chains on, show you how effective they actually are. It's amazing how these things get themselves tangled up. So what you need to do, you need to actually put them out and make sure that they are absolutely correct, no tangling up. Different chains have different sort of color coding and that, but generally speaking, with this one, the orange has to go through first, so you wouldn't try and pass this one through. So what I'm going to do is just pass the orange around. When you're going to do this sort of stuff, if you're traveling, actually have some sort of jacket ready. It's not going to be warm. Wherever you are, it's going to be cold and wet and windy and all that sort of stuff. So have something that's sort of old and dirty, or that you can get dirty, because you're going to be hugging the tire. You're going to have a really good hug with the tire. There are chains that are much easier to put on, miles easier than these, and I think I'm going to invest in a set, but they're sort of £200-300, so quite a lot of money. The other thing you're going to want is something that you can kneel on. Okay, if you've got nice young knees, then don't bother about it, but generally you need something decent that you can kneel on. It's soft here, so that's okay, but if you had a lot of gravel and stuff like that, if you're going to put these on while it was still on concrete or tar, you'd want to kneel on something. So take a pad or two that you can kneel on. Right, so let's get this there. Of course, when you do chains, you need some good nourishment to be able to do them. And this, thank you. Here's my nourishment, my energy to put the chains on. You gave me the tail. What if I wanted the head?
It's the leg, silly.
Oh, it's the leg. Right, let's see. Okay, first things, you pass this through, so you've got it untangled. You pass that through there. All right, let's try and find where it went. And you pull this over. Now, this is going to go into there like that, obviously. These just feel very weak compared to the others. And then you pull the chains over. Pull everything over that's meant to be over. You've got to make sure that the chain is completely untangled, totally untangled. On that side and this side, it shouldn't have tangled because it was the one that dragged through. So what will happen, this one is now clipped, this one is now clipped, so move that back over so you can drag these around a bit. This one we are clipping onto there. Okay, and you've got this ratchety thing, tighten the chains on. You need to wrestle them a little bit just to make sure they are seating properly. See, that's given me a few more clicks. And I'm going to do it just again, once or twice. Pull out the bottom. There we are. Now you would put this one there and in there. Right, tighten it all up. And this you would bring, it's a bit stretchy, so you bring this pretty much as far as you can. So that has put that chain on. Like I was saying, they don't feel nearly as strong as the other chains, but it should be okay. We'll see. I'm happy that that is on properly. So let's do the other side and pass this through. Come around to this side. Pull the chain out and untangle it again. This side should be untangled anyway. Grab the two ends. And join them. Pull this over. Again, hook that on. And once again we have this thing with a ratchet. I think that's looking good. What you'll know if you're driving any distance, what you do is you drive a bit, stop, tighten up, drive a bit again, maybe do it twice or even 3 times before you drive any great distance. Because as you drive, it sort of sorts itself out. So I'm happy with this. I feel where it is there, it's in a good position. It's not going to touch anything. It's not going to break anything. Like I was saying, this will it'll sort itself out a little bit. You can see this chain fits quite well on here. It's the right size chain. Now, if I had gloves, I would just take the gloves off and drive. But instead, I'm going to need to go and wash. Right, so we've seen, we stopped deliberately to lose all momentum and then started up again, and this part is just too slippery. I'm so used to coming around here and you just can't get off. Once you're beyond this, sometimes it's okay, but this is actually quite a slope to come up with a vehicle that's this heavy with the kind of traction you get on these tires. So put the snow chains on. We've sort of tightened them, and because the trip is so short and they'll be off within 20 meters or so, we're not going to bother stopping and retightening. But as I said, if you're driving any distance, you drive a bit, stop, tighten up, and maybe do that again, and then you're good to go for quite a distance. Obviously you can't go fast on these, otherwise you're asking for trouble. So you're not going to go 100 miles an hour ever. These are for extreme, they're really built for snow. That's why they're called snow chains, snow and ice, and for slow travel, but they give you a lot of traction. And you'll see now, you know, we slipped here, but you'll see when we drive with these things, you'll be amazed at the increase in traction, and you'll see how little these chains damage the grass. You'll see the imprint from the chains, which will disappear very quickly, and then you'll never know that we drove over here. Very, very kind to the lawn. Right, let's give it a bash and see how it works. It does help to undo the handbrake. You notice how there's just no slipping. In the barn, we've got through all the soft stuff on the hard stuff now. Taking these off is pretty much just the reverse of what you did. So you've got to unhook that, get this chain off, get this. You see how loose they become. That's the slack that you would take out if you're normally driving over distance. Take the ratchets back, unhook this, then you need to get behind. So where these hook up behind is where these things join, and this is the difficult part, is to getting these things, because you have to get into the mud a little bit there. Actually, they're different from my other chains, which, let's see if I can find the join. Oh yeah, the join is actually on this side. It's not on this side, it's on this side. And let's see if I can find it. There we are. Got this off. Obviously you're on the chain, so you're going to have to just push this here and then drive off. So we started, we put the chains on around about here. You can see just where they started digging in, just over here. And on this side they started taking about here. This is where they turned over and started. See how little damage they do. There was one place where it pulled a little bit, so these are fairly small chains, so a tiny scuff, and this is actually the only scuff on this entire stretch, which would recover quite quickly. But you can see how little damage, how little it marked, and how quickly the lawn would recover from this. So that's the advantage of using snow chains. And various folks have got a lot of theories about what you can use. So bread trays are one of the most popular. There's this theory from anybody who's not actually done it properly to cut a bread tray and use that bottom, and you know it's pretty useless, and you're going to get about a meter of travel on a bread tray. Snow chain is far better. Snow socks are not too bad. They are better than the bare tire, but actually they're still nothing like a snow chain. If you want to be really kind to the lawn, use a snow chain. And unlike mine, which are really dirt cheap, why don't you spend some decent money? I'm going to be spending £200 or £300 on the next lot that I get. There's some that are really easy to put on. But we'll do a future episode on how quickly you can use some of these modern snow chains. So thanks for watching, folks, and I hope you enjoyed this very different episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.